right, guys, there's multiple ways of bleeding the brakes in your car. There's really no wrong way. I've done most likely all of them, from just gravity bleeding, just letting gravity just do its thing, or having a buddy sit on the brake in the front, you in the back with a bleeding screw, and just pump, hold. It works just fine too. Sometimes there is you might still get bubbles kind of captured in the back of the slave, but it's just I've done all of them and it works. One thing I purchased last year when I was doing some track work at Black Hawk Farms here at my local track, that this just works so much better. It is the Motive Products Power Bleeder. This thing is absolutely amazing. See if we can get a good view. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, man. It is made life so much easier. So when you buy it, you'll have to buy the adapters for it. And there's so many adapters, but the thing is that some adapters that you think wouldn't work, on their site, it tells you what it may work for. This is the adapter that works for. This is actually a Ford adapter, but I don't like Fords, so whatever. So this is a Ford adapter, and this actually works for the Dodge Neon, 95 through 99 Dodge Neon. I don't know if it works for an SRT4. I don't think it will. We'll see. We'll cross our bridge when we get there. So this one works for the 95 through 99 Dodge Neon, and I think it's for a Ford F-150. It also does work for the Sentra. I know this because I did it last year. So I don't know the part number. I think it has it on there. But yes, it is the red one. It has the little holding knobs, holding edges to keep it in place. But this one's for a Ford, but it does work for the Neon and it does work for the Sentra. Little nugget and tidbit: get the metal one. Do not get the plastic ones. They're known to after a while the little clips inside here, they break. And then always make sure that this is lubed up and with the sealing ring. So essentially what you do is you hook it up and you shut the system down and you pump it up to, what is it, 1 bar or 15 psi. And before you unload anything, you just kind of pressure test the system first, and then if there is no leaking anywhere, then the system is nice and tight. You put your fluid in there. Instead of just telling you about it, I'll just show you how I did it, and that way it'll help all the car guys that I know personally and in YouTube that this is the stuff, man. This is where it's at. So instead of and you can do this by yourself. You don't have to call your boy and come over and whatever. It's just so much easier this way. So let's get started. All right, so as soon as we get the system in, or the system in front of the car, you take your reservoir cap off, and you'll see that it is, let me see, those tabs I was telling you about, those 3 tabs are identical to what I have here. Unless if Ford made a contract with everybody to use their same shit, I don't know. I always get a little bit of brake fluid and then go around the O-ring. Okay. Put it in there. Tighten it down. Okay. So we're not gonna put any fluid in here. There, you can see my ugly ass. We're not gonna put any brake fluid in here just yet. We're gonna power everything up to make sure
That's what she said. Michael.
that there is no leaks on the line, that there is no leaks in there. I've done it before where I fill this up, I pressure tested, and it's just leaking out the reservoir because it was never tight. Don't do that. Okay, so it's at, well, it's a little past 15, but it's 15. We're gonna leave it in there. And then I'm gonna keep an eye on the gauge to make sure it's not dropping. If it does drop, you know, you got somewhere in the line is leaking somewhere, or your reservoir is not in all the way tight, or it's just as simple as this. But do this first, do yourself the favor, and don't be like I did that one time I first used it. I got excited, I'm not gonna lie to you. Put the fluid in there, it was like, look what I can do, and then it started leaking. So help yourself out. Pressure tester first, and then that's that, Mr. That's that. So hang on tight. As soon as I know that this isn't leaking, I'm gonna fill it up with fluid, and then we'll start the bleeding process, the super cake stuff to do. So
a few moments later.
all right, boys, so there was, after the letting it sit for about 5-10 minutes, there was no leaking. So now we're gonna pump this. All we did was put the fluid in, and right now it's like up to here. I filled it up a lot because I know I gotta, bleed the crap out of the old stuff and then make sure there's no air pockets in there. So what I'm doing is, I forgot to tell you, to take the air out, you literally unscrew the cap slowly, and it's got like a vacuum effect, and then it'll just pull all the stuff out of there. But for right now, getting back to what I was saying earlier, fill up the brake fluid up to here-ish. You can use any type of brake fluid. Right now I'm just using the DOT regulated stuff for this, no racing fluid just yet. But if you use like this much of SRF brake fluid, it's like, Castrol, by the way, it's like, oh man, it's like $200. It's expensive as hell. So we're gonna fill it up, which we did, and now we're gonna pressure test. We're gonna pressure the system. Okay, we are at 15 psi. You press down, you lock it in, and then we'll go to the back. All right, guys, so we're now back here. I have my 10 mil wrench for this car, and I have my brake fluid, or I got my brake hose, that's gonna be sit into this this container right here. This one's got a little magnet in the back. I think I got it through Amazon for like $10 or whatever. So I might have to replace this because this is just getting hard over time. So I have everything ready. I'm gonna show you a little trick that I know about just doing this in general and how it really helped me out. So I'm gonna get everything ready and I'll show you guys as soon as I open up the pressure. Well, I'll just do it here. So crack it open. You're gonna see all those bubbles coming out. There you go. You take a small hammer. You hit the caliper a little bit. And it'll, any other bubbles that are left inside here, it'll bring it to the top. And that's the point of me hitting it. Let's see if I get a better angle through here. So all I'm doing is just hitting it. And I don't know if the camera can capture, but there's small microscopic air bubbles coming through here. And obviously when you brake bleed the car, they want you to start the farthest away from the master, which is, your right rear. And then you just work your way from the right rear to left rear. And then you go to the right front, and then obviously the driver's side. So right now we're gonna work away here, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. But like I said, literally you can not do this and that's fine, but I found out that just over time, if you hit it, give it a little love tap, you can still see bubbles literally coming out. I keep saying literally, but it's the truth. Look at all, look, I'm not sure if the camera can capture it. Still bubbles coming out. So if you ever want to bleed your brakes really good, this is the way.
You want to hit the brake, you want to hit the caliper.
And right now, obviously, the system up there is going down because you're taking the pressure out of it to force it through the system. So just keep, take your time with it. We got plenty of fluid in there. It should be enough to do one side, maybe two. So, yep, all we're gonna do is the same thing to all the sides. So, I'll see if I can fast forward through some of that. But yeah, man, this is it. This is the brake. This is the way I brake. I flush all my cars. So I hope this helps you guys out. Okay, boys, we just got done with the back. Now we're gonna do the front. So. These do not have the single piston like the older ones did. Those were a one bleeder screw system. Now these Brembos have two bleeder screws, one in the back for the dual pistons here, one in the front for the dual pistons here. So the correct way to bleed the Brembos, really any 4 piston to 6 pistons, always go the inside first, then the outside. By bleeding it correctly, you should have proper, pedal feel, proper, stopping power, no issues whatsoever. So we're going to do that now, and then it's the same thing as before. We're going to open it up, and then we're gonna grab it. Like I said, mallet, something rubbered. Start seeing the bubbles come out and the reservoir being filled. But yes, the proper way, inside, then outside. By doing that, good to go. Okay, now that your brakes are all bled all the way around, then you bring this back just a bit. There we go. Then you basically take your container, slowly release the pressure, and all the pockets will come back. All right. Makes sounds, I guess. Then just slowly take this apart. Get a good angle here. Then all you got to do left is top off your brake fluid. You're set.